teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of sun. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, yeah. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me. Big time. I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try and take it from me, from me, from me, from me. Big time, number 9. Down in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Thursday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Oakley here. We got Donnie Chestnuts to the right of the screen on me. We got the champ, Kelly Pavlik, and Trey Civarella down at the bottom. Gentlemen, how are we?
Doing great.
Doing awesome.
Kel, how are you? I know you don't like our intro.
What's that?
I know you don't like our intro, so are you
I love
doing all
it,
right?
man. I've just been a lot going on here, so I'm just running a little behind. But I wouldn't miss that intro for the world, dude.
You couldn't miss it for the world. It's 38 minutes long.
39, but it's okay.
But who's counting? Who's counting? Welcome again to a Thursday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. Got a lot of good stuff for you here today. For some reason, my national day calendar is all jacked up. So we're actually going a day ahead. So at least for this week, tomorrow is Nobel Prize Day. So we're going to celebrate it today. And I'm going to ask you guys, if you could give out a Nobel Prize for anything to anybody local here, who would it be and what would it be for? Nobel Prize. It could be for peace. It could be for, I don't even know what else they give out Nobel Prizes for. A lot of things. But now you get to be the category of it. Donnie, who you giving a Nobel Prize out to?
Man, locally, I'd have to give the Nobel Prize to myself. No. No. I'd have to give the Nobel Prize out to... Man, that is a tough one because there's so many great people locally that do so many things. Man, I'd have to give the Nobel Prize out to one of the top doctors in our area for staying in this battle with COVID and everything else. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sticking with the doctors and nurses. I'm giving multiple Nobel Prizes out to all these frontline workers for all the stuff that they've done on a daily basis. So.
Look at you.
Love them all.
Always the politician. Kelly, who's giving getting your Nobel Prize?
Keanu Reeves. Is that how you say it? Keanu?
Yeah.
Do that.
Kelly, tell these guys I should give.
No, I don't know. I mean, like Donnie said, there's so many people. I mean, you got all the local physicians and doctors. Got a lot of people that are every day that are put their health and everything on the line for us. So I don't know, man. One person's kind of tough.
Let's twist this, because I know it's a tough one. If you had to give it to an athlete or a student athlete or a coach, who would you give it to? That way we're not putting the pressure on you guys to make good. If you had to give it to a student athlete or a coach, what would you give it to them for and why? Trey, we'll start with you.
From a player, I don't know how local this is, but he plays in Pittsburgh, and I would assume he's one of your guys since you're a big Steelers fan. I'll go Cam Hayward.
Hey.
Very charitable guy around the Pittsburgh, Cleveland area. As crazy it is, he is one of the most charitable guys in the NFL. He has his own foundation, I believe. So as much as it pains me to give any sort of credit to any sort of Pittsburgh player, I'll go Cam Hayward.
Look at Nick. See, Nick gets it too, and that's a great pick, Trey. The Nobel Prize for Chemistry to the Salem girls basketball team. They have so much chemistry. I like it. I like what he did there. A little chemistry technically is the putting two different things together or more, but now he's bringing chemistry into high school basketball. I like it. Back to you, Kel. Who would you give it to?
I'll have to go with a sport that I really pay attention to, and I would have to probably say I'm going to do a boxer. I would say Tyson Fury. He donated, I believe, $9 million, pretty much all of his purse, to the homeless over in his country, and he donated a lot here in the States. That's pretty big.
That's awesome. Dawn? The Dawn?
The Dawn. All right, then if we're going to go athletes, man, I'd have to – or coaches. I'm going to give it to Boardman Boys basketball coach Pat Birch. Listen, what he's been able to do the first two games of the season with basically a lot of pieces to the puzzle, with how many kids he can get rotated in and out, and the chemistry that they've had so far has been awesome to watch. And yeah, he's got he's that consummate pro, man. He's awesome. He's been there for a while now, and he's really a program coach. So I'd give it to him in a heartbeat.
I'm going to go with an announcer / GM here. Steve Leslie is going to get my Nobel Peace Prize for keeping everybody at peace, given the turbulence that can be from football season to basketball season. He's able to keep YSN very, very under the radar and everybody down. So the Nobel Peace Prize for me goes to Steve Leslie. But yeah, kind of like Kelly, there's so many great donors. And Donnie, you had a great – I was reeling yesterday after you told me all the great things that you did, for the kids in the Valley here. There's so many great people. Kelly, you're one of them. You give so much back in time and resources to these kids. It's an honor to have you guys on the panel, and it's weird because both of you give so much and are around people that give so much back to this area. It's cool to talk about, but I know you're both very humble people, so I want to draw some attention to you for all that you do to give back. So, Donnie, Kelly, thank you for all you do. It means more than you know, and those kids and people that you affect, man, people are talking about it all the time. And Kelly, we've talked about it, when you weren't here, because we know you won't pat yourself on the back, but all the things you do away from the ring and the stuff that people know you for. And kind of have put so much time and for yourself into, it doesn't even scratch the surface of what you've done outside the ring for other people. So thank you for all you've done.
Well, I appreciate it, man. You don't have to thank me.
You got it. Well, that's why you're Mr. Humble Pie. Let's go to today's topics. Actually, let's do a Would You Rather, because Rob's not here to do Would You Rather, so now we get to make up our own, which probably not going to be near as good. Would you rather be an athlete, student athlete, in today's era, right? 2021, 2020, the COVID era, if you will, or an athlete in the early 2000s when 3 of the 4 of us were athletes? Trey, sorry, you were just born. So would you rather be an athlete now or an athlete in the early 2000s, given social media, given all this other stuff that you have to do? Why or why not? Donnie, we'll start with you. You're muted, I think.
I am muted. Yeah. So that actually is a pretty tough one because I think honestly the expectations now are greater because of social media and everything else. With so many eyes being able to watch on any given night, especially with a an organization like YSN where you can watch basically from all over the world and for free, by the way. And but honestly, like I think the expectations and the hype would be so much harder now. Like I was looking at I was watching my daughter's game yesterday against Salem, and I agree with Nick. Man, I love that Salem team. They're so well coached and well rounded. They just love each other. You could just tell they play unselfish basketball, and nobody cares who's the leading scorer each and every night. But like I'm watching my daughter and I'm thinking to myself like, wow, she's a sophomore and there's so much pressure and so much hype on her already, and it's like sometimes I sit back to myself and I think like, wow, man, I wish she was just a kid still. You know what I mean? I wish she was still coming through like that when she first started playing basketball. Her very first time playing basketball, she actually had a cast on her arm. That didn't matter. She wanted to just beat everybody up anyways, but just like how much fun she had. Now it's like, man, it's her. It's like the pressure is on her. Yeah, it's a total job. That's kind of unfair for a 15-and-a-half-year-old girl, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I would definitely love the aspect of all the people saying great things on social media today and all this. You weren't around to do these things back then, so I would definitely say because of that point of view, I would love to play now. And I don't know, maybe it would bring out some more work, hard work and everything. But like Kelly, I mean that's his heyday. The early 2000s, that's his heyday. So I'm gonna take it and send it over to Cal.
I can't wait for this answer. Kelly, would you rather be an athlete in the early 2000s or right now?
I'm very realistic, and sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. But it kind of goes both ways. I think I would rather still have stuck with the early 2000s. But when I say it goes both ways, Donnie kind of touched on it and he made a good point on it. I mean, like today, everybody's visible, through social media. And I think it was harder in the early 2000s to get yourself moving, or let's take it from a professional standpoint. And we even use boxing to get notarized. It was really hard back then, as where today, these videos go viral, and you got Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So it's easier to get the exposure today and move up the ladder quicker because of that. But the bad side of it is you got a lot of armchair quarterbacks and armchair pitchers and basketball players that will sit on the internet, and the only way that social media gives them a platform to feel relevant in life. And no matter how good the athlete is or what the athlete does, you'll get a whole bunch of people that knock them. If you go look at any thread with any athlete, especially professional, is 99% negative. So it is a lot of pressure on athletes. A lot of people say like, well, you don't let it get to you, but if you're human, you're human. And I think that's the part that kind of sucks today. I mean, no matter how good you are, no matter what you do, you get bashed, and it's hard. It puts a lot of pressure on the other side of it. The small percentage of the praise and recognition of what you do, people, you're expected to go out and keep doing that. So it's not pampering these newer athletes. It's realistic. I mean, they got a lot of pressure on them because of social media. So for me personally, I think the early 2000s, it was cool because when you did get the ink, when you did get the notoriety for your accomplishments, it was well deserved. So I think I would definitely rather go with the early 2000s.
I like it. Trey, you're living it right now, man. You're a senior in high school. You're on all these different platforms. Would you rather go back to the early 2000s when you had to literally find your way, or do you like all the eyes being on you?
So the way that I look at it now, DJ, is I'm going to play Division III baseball for Bethany. Mm-hmm. Without the highlight tape that I put on social media and without that kind of platform for my highlight tape to be on, I don't know that Bethany would have been able to see me. Unless you were a really big recruit back in the early 2000s, it was really hard to get recruited. Nowadays, through email and all these social media platforms, it's much easier to get recruited. It's much easier to get your name out there. So for that reason, and pretty much that reason solely, I think I would much rather be an athlete in today's age, just because of the recruitment base.
I like it. There's a lot of truth to all of that stuff. I still think that there's so much more pressure now on, can I say, average student athletes? Because, back when I was being recruited, Trey, same deal as you. I was not going to go D2. I was certainly not going to go D1. I wasn't going to be drafted or play professionally, even though I had ambition to do that. D3 was my only way to continue the game that I loved in baseball. So you're doing all of these, they called it Baseball Factory. I don't know if it's still around. You're doing all the showcases before they were showcases. And that was the only way to get out there, because you couldn't even put videos on social media. There was no Facebook. It was MySpace was the only thing. Yeah, that was the only thing we had. And Tom wasn't helping me trying to get a D3 position at Westminster. So, it's funny. I think there's more pressure on the average athlete now to put themselves out there, on a regular basis. But with that being said, one of the topics we're going to talk about today is social media. And social media, as I always say, is either can be used as a tool or can make you look like a tool. And there's so many people out there that, they don't understand that the second that they put a resume in for a job, or when they put, their tape in, the highlight tape, these coaches are looking at their social media profiles, whether it be TikTok or Instagram or Twitter, Facebook, whatever it may be. They're looking at it because they want to see what kind of person they're really getting. And is your social media clean, or are you out there bashing people and derogatory terms and what kind of person you really are? Because they want to know if they have a showboat, or they want to know if they have a showcase. And I think that's social media makes it real simple across the board to let your hair down a little bit, and especially when people are mad, when people are angry, they want people. Misery loves company, right? So the first thing they do is they go to social media and they say, hey, who's with me on this? Who hates chocolate donuts? And they're going to get everybody that hates chocolate donuts to go with them. So interestingly enough, Kelly, to start this, because I know you're limited on time today, you don't do a whole lot on social media. From that standpoint, is there a reason behind it, or is it just a personal choice?
I do now with my Instagram, because of the boxing and being involved with gyms and opening another gym here hopefully really soon. And so I do Instagram, TikTok. I do some tips and stuff like that on there. Facebook I kind of backed away from because it's too social, and again, going back on, and I hate to pound on a negative, but you even go to like the Boardman Talk and you see like a new restaurant opening, and people just bash it. I mean, the place hasn't even opened yet. So I kind of stray away from that because, again, I don't want to give anybody a platform to more than what they need. And you get caught up too much in the stuff that happens. But I do with Instagram and TikTok. And, again, everything's kind of more based towards the boxing fans and stuff like that on Instagram. So, in my opinion, I think social media is great for a handful of reasons. I think, like, to stay in contact with people that may have moved, throughout your life that you were close with, family members that are far away, or just regular groups, like even my dad he was in the Navy, and he got out all the way back in 1974. And the people that he still stays in contact that he was in a service with because of social media. So I think there is a lot of pluses to it also, but yeah, I limit as much as I can because from an athlete standpoint that's out there, everything you say is under the microscope. So, if you're not out there, you're not putting yourself out there, it's a lot easier. But I still think that there's some important things about social media that it's good to have.
If you had to give one piece of advice for somebody utilizing social media at the, let's say, 14 to 20-year-old stage, which is imperative if they want to be a professional athlete or take that next step, what would that advice be?
Watch everything that you put. I mean, even if it's not meant to hurt anybody or anything like that, or if it's just an opinion that you have, that could be, 100% right. if people want to take it and turn it to what they want to, it's very easy for that to happen. And as you said, I mean, you don't have to just be an athlete. I mean, you could be going to apply for a big time job, and they see something, from when you were a kid, it could hurt you. So, use the social media the right way. Go on there, not saying not to ever express your opinion on something, but just make sure how you do it, and be careful with that. Use the benefits of social media, not the negatives of social media. Use it for what it could do for you in the right way.
I love it. Trey, you live it. You're on every social media outlet there is. Do you think social media is a benefit to you as a student athlete?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it gives you the chance to put yourself in front of coaches and people that you wouldn't have been able to without it. A great example is a teammate of mine, Brady Shannon. He had a clip go viral about a year or 2 years ago. To my understanding, that's really what sparked interest from a lot of the coaches that he talked to, and end up signing with UCF. And that clip of him hitting a ball 450 feet, that doesn't happen really without social media. That doesn't get posted anywhere without social media because there's nowhere to post it. So I think the ability to put yourself out there and show what you can do without having to do it in person and just getting a first impression, I think that's huge for athletes, especially ones at the D3, D2 level.
And you've done a great job with your social media promoting what you do. You're an aspiring, obviously, student athlete at the next level, but you're also, you have your own podcast, you have your own branding. How has it helped you, and what have you had to do from a standpoint of making sure that it's the right way to utilize social media?
I think that monitoring everything you say, watching what you post, and kind of like what Kelly said, but going over it after you're done. If you do a podcast or an interview with somebody, I think that watching it once or twice and then having somebody else watch it, it's kind of like writing an essay. You want somebody else to read it, you want somebody else to watch it. That way you can get another person's perspective before you post or turn that assignment in. So I think that there's a good parallel between those two. And yeah, I think that by doing all of these different platforms, I think you can make a lot of connections that can help you at the next level. So I'm very grateful to have all these platforms to do that kind of stuff on.
Now I know you're a little bit nervous because you sent me a text. You can mark out a little bit. I know you're sitting here with Kelly. We didn't tell you. We surprised you. Do you want to give a little kudos to the champ?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I watched your whole podcast with Rogan. That was sweet. Like I love the Rogan podcast, and to see you go on and then you're here, man. That's crazy. Like I love boxing, from guys like Errol Spence and Gervonta Davis, all these guys that are boxing right now. I'm a huge boxing fanatic. So
that's awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
You just made his life, Kel. Just so you know.
He just made my day too.
He is the coolest cucumber. I mean, he's 18 years old. Just turned 18.
He sounds good, like he got his head on his shoulders the right way too. So that's always good,
Thank you, man.
Good kid.
And with the podcast, that's smart that you go back over and edit. See, me and my co-host got a little bit of crap because we did everything live. It was like right there, and we did fair warn everybody. It's uncut, unfiltered, and it wasn't really a best boxing show, but there would be a couple F-bombs here and there, and you'd be surprised on that. Like we stressed it at the beginning. This is uncut and unfiltered. You're talking about boxing. So yeah, but that's good, man. Keep working hard, dude. Do what you're doing, and good luck with the baseball.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That just made my day. Donnie, hard act to follow on that. Sorry, buddy. Talk to me about social media. You've got 3 kids, right?
Yeah, 3 kids. But listen, I see a little spin-off show coming with these two. A little boxing fanatic, little champ. I tell you what, we might be on to something. Can we be your managers? Yes. No, but yeah, I mean, with 3 kids, I mean, obviously my kids are they take after their mother. They're extremely smart. They know that they should not do certain things. They stay extremely humble, especially on social media. I mean, my oldest daughter is basically only posting things that she does artistically, and she's an insane talent with that. So, and then Mackenzie just what's nice about her is she loves everybody. She's friends with everybody, and she treats everybody with the same amount of respect. So I don't ever have to worry about her on social media ever. And Alan, he's only 8 years old, so he he's going to be trouble though. Holy cow. He's going to be something, but to getting back to what Kelly was saying too, like I thoroughly enjoy, I call Kelly's, TikToks, I call them TikTok tutorials from Kelly, because like, if people understood how technical the sport of boxing is, and how he breaks it down and simplifies it for some people, because he gets questions all the time, and they ask him, the roll under punch, the roll under protection that you posted just, I think, the other day, I was like, that makes so much sense. So I don't know, I really appreciate the fact that he's able to go on there and do that for boxers of today, you know what I mean? Like the younger generation of boxers that he's willing to help. And it's not just people that are coming to his gym, you know what I mean? So like, you can't sit there and be like, well, you don't come see me, so I'm not going to offer you any help. He's willing to help anybody that's willing to watch. So, Kelly mentioned earlier too, like, how things are portrayed on social media and stuff. I'm just gonna go to bat for Kelly real quick here. Anybody that knows Kelly Pavlik the way that we know Kelly Pavlik, you would fight war toe to toe with that guy against anybody because of the person he is. And great friends, but I'm telling you, man, he's top notch. And I'll battle for that guy out in the public any day of the week.
I appreciate it, guys. You don't got to talk all that nice stuff for me. I appreciate it.
Well, I mean, reality is, Kelly, is you are the hero, you are the legend of our generation, right? That's where it is, and you can be as humble as you want. We appreciate it, certainly, because that's how we want everybody to be, and that's how this area is. But you are that guy for us. But what's funny,
he would do it for us. He would do it for me right now.
And like, I could call you in a second, and you're gonna be here. I mean, you'll navigate. You'll need your GPS to get down to East Palestine, because I know you don't like coming here.
Yeah.
But you'd be here in a second, and you'd give me the shirt off your back if I needed it. And that's the kind of guy that you are. And what's funny is when we put athletes on a pedestal, we don't realize that the hours of being in the dark that you spent, like, just to have people say your name or hear your name. And then, when you hear that, there's a new world heavyweight or world middleweight champion, and he's from Youngstown, like, I remember where I was. That will never leave me for as long as I live. And you made all of us so proud when you did that. I guess we're going to turn this into the Kelly Pavlik hour.
Fine.
When you did that, what were you thinking? Because in my mind, like, it always goes, like, if we ever won an award, or YSN ever won, what would I think about the first time that my name was called like that? What was going through your mind when you were raising your arms up and you ran to that turnbuckle?
That's a really good question. Everything goes so fast. So they always tell you, like, it'll be crazy. They can fair warn you. They'll say, it'll be a dream, this, that. That you just accomplished it. I ran over to the corner and jumped up on the ropes and had my hands in the air, and you hear it, but it really don't. It's hard to explain. It don't stick with you. You're excited. You're the world champion, but you don't grasp the moment. And it don't really hit you until a good amount of time afterwards. That exactly what you accomplished, and it was exciting. They said that, world champion, the new middleweight champion of the world. And on top of that, I was the lineal. And at that time, there wasn't many lineal champions. There really ain't overall. So that's a big feat. I ended up getting 3 of the world title belts, and it just never really, like, hit me. And I would say probably till about 2009, 2010. When you really started sitting back and seeing your name in the Ring magazine as the three-time or 3-year reigning middleweight champion. Then when you keep seeing that, that's when it kind of starts setting in. But it's just, a ball of emotions, man. Emotions that you can't explain to anybody, because it's so much work. There is so much work that goes into it, and so many years. I was 7 years pro when I got that shot, and not that I was old when I won it, but still pretty much a baby at signing the contract at 17 years old. Having my pro debut, I was just turned 18. But, all the way up to 25, that's a long time too. And it's a long road and it's a long journey and having the patience and everything else. So it is really cool. But, you really don't realize what just happened until some time later when the whole tornado slows down, you know what I mean? And the whirlwind and you actually have time to let that settle in.
I mean, from a standpoint of, what you had to give up in order to have those opportunities, you had to make your fair share of sacrifices with, I'm sure parties and some of the things at school and going into college and things like that. What sacrifice do you think, what was the hardest thing to give up during that time between being a 17-year-old and becoming world champion?
Well, that's another good question. That all actually even started probably about a year or so before I turned pro. Boxing is like any other sport. There is scouts. It's like baseball. We'll use that as an example. You have scouts from every promotional company. They send people out to go watch at these national tournaments, and they keep an eye on the new talent. And I'll never forget, true story. I was going to Louisville. I went there on open enrollment. And I lived right down the street on the south side from the old restaurant Bobby D's. And it was, I had to actually pay for, to go to these tournaments and fight. And, you're gone for a week. And if you lose on a Tuesday, you're still there for the rest of the week and you got to eat. And at that point, you got to pay and everything else. So I remember I would go to, I was working at Bobby D's as a busboy. And it was homecoming, either homecoming or prom. No, homecoming. And at my school, they had their after dinner at Bobby D's in Youngstown. And here I am, at the dance that I could have went to, and I'm over here busting the tables of my classmates, and that's very, it was very humbling and I wouldn't say embarrassing because I knew I had to drive and I knew what I was doing. And it was a big part of it. But, things like that, so while everybody's there, I'm cleaning up. They're all having a good time, and I'm cleaning up their food scraps off the table just to be able to go to a tournament that could get me ranked and get me put into maybe even signed by a promotional company, which turned out to be the right choice for me to do. I've missed, there was a lot of things you had to sacrifice. Not only sacrificing the fun, but you're starving yourself to death too. It's not like you're saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to just sit home and eat a 12-inch pizza and 12 wings. I'm not going out with my friends tonight. No, it was sitting home eating a little bit of a fish with salad and starving yourself and training 8 hours a day.
All right, I got one more question. Trey, we'll get to you in a second. I have to follow up on this. And obviously, sacrificing that, there's some relationships that you had, people, when you become famous, when people have something that they love and they love you for being part of that, the people that surround you, right? You had to cut some relationships along the way in order to get to where you wanted to go, correct?
Yeah. And there was some that I kept that probably shouldn't have. You know what I mean? It's hard when you're a young kid, and no matter who you have around that's not used to it, people could tell you could have every person that's been to the top come and talk to you. You're going to go, yeah. And you're going to listen. But until you're really in that position, it's hard, and I think that a lot of these young athletes need consultants and things like that. But there was a lot of relationships that, I probably could have done without. There was, to be quite honest with you, even my team, if you think about it, in 2007, 2008, I'll just use like my PR guy, for instance. I was a loyal person, so I kept the guy from Youngstown, Ohio as my PR guy. This guy had no experience at all in doing any of that. He managed apartments in Cleveland. That was his job. I could have had any PR person I wanted to in 2007. In 2008, I could have had a guy. I actually had people approach me that worked in Beverly Hills, that worked with, music stars and actresses, but I was loyal. I think there was some money left on the table. Yeah, but I was still fortunate enough, on my own to be able to get, big sponsors. I'm talking about on the outside of boxing,
sure.
The revenue, Affliction and all that was a big one. And then there were some relationships that I wish I would have had, that I would have picked up. It could have made a world of difference, but you're always going to have that. And nobody, not one athlete has ever made 100% of his choices the right ones. You know, some just are fortunate and their longevity is they're good enough and longevity is good enough. For instance, we'll use somebody like LeBron James. You know, LeBron came in. He was highly touted as probably the best prospect ever in basketball coming out of high school. Of course, he got big endorsements and stuff coming out, but his career could easily, after 3 or 4 years, petered out. And you see that a lot with a lot of top guys. LeBron was fortunate to have the longevity to be in it, and he had the right people around him. And as he went on in the sport, you know, he got smarter. He paid attention. He listened to people. He wasn't hard-headed. And he was able to go to be where he's at now. I think, you know, even the same for me. I think most of my decisions were the right ones, and that leads me to be able to retire at 30 years old without ever having to fight again, you know, work or anything like that. You know, everything I do now is based on what I want to do, you know, the gyms, the podcast, going here, get into other little side gigs that I want to do. It was, you know, from the fact of being able to listen to people and certain people. And that's why, you know, I've been able to do what I've done. And a lot of these young athletes don't have that. And I do feel bad. I mean, you see guys, I'll use boxing again as an example. Many world champions are getting purse advancements because, you know, they've went through the money. And so they're actually fighting for free. It's crazy. So, you know, there's a lot of things like that. I just think, you know, I wish there was more people out there to be able to really sit down with these young guys and, you know, get their attention and talk to them.
Yeah. Trey, what do you got, brother?
So, Kelly, I'm sure you get asked this question a lot, but I feel like we're seeing a resurgence in boxing. There's so much talent out there, from Gervonta Davis to Errol Spence. Which boxer out there impresses you the most, not named Canelo Alvarez?
Okay, you got Tank is selling out arenas. I mean, he's putting, you know, 16,000 people in the seats. Teofimo Lopez is doing a pretty good job on that. And boxing is climbing. I think we've seen, and we'll use Canelo, because Canelo, when he just fought a couple weeks ago, he was the main attraction on the card. And his pay-per-view numbers still did more than the mega card that the UFC put on. Mm-hmm. So I think overall, UFC, because it's more mainstream than boxing, does better. But again, you're never going to beat boxing. I mean, boxing, a big fight, you know, Mayweather still holds the record for pay-per-views. I just mentioned what Canelo did just by himself over a star-studded UFC card. But I think the resurgence in boxing is coming back. Again, you know, you got Shakur Stevenson, who's really talented. He's able to put some of the asses in the seats. Unfortunately, you got some guys, though, that are pound for pound best that really can't, you know, and that's the reality of it. You know, boxing compared to 20, 30 years ago is still on the downside. I think if Deontay Wilder walked around the streets of New York, maybe 2 people would recognize him. They wouldn't know who he is. Lomachenko still fights in a small arena at the Madison Square Garden because he can't put enough butts in the seats. So, but on the other side of it, you're starting to get the interest back from the casual fans and the boxing degenerates that are, you know, wanting to see big fights.
All right, so I got to ask this question because I like boxing a lot, but these rough and rowdies that have been coming out for Barstool, does that do anything for you as a boxer, or do you take it as a slap in the face or just entertainment?
I think if the boxing fan in general don't know the difference, then shame on them.
Yeah.
Right? You know, just like with the Jake Paul and these celebrity fights. Listen, you know, a lot of them going, well, I can't believe that's a smack in the face to these guys that have been training. Well, first of all, don't pay for it. Second of all, go buy more of these you know, pro fight pay-per-views. They're not that expensive. Like you're contributing. You're not buying. Look at it like you're contributing to the sport.
Yeah.
But if you can't tell Rough and Rowdy's fake, and if you want to go watch it, but you won't watch, you won't spend the money to go travel 2 hours to Cleveland to watch, you know, an amateur card, then you're the problem with the sport. You know, it's not these guys. You know, I don't blame them. Like Jake Paul, everybody goes, well, it's a shame that he's making more money than most world champion fighters. Well, most world champion fighters don't have 10 million followers on YouTube, and they're not the ones putting the asses in the seats. So why should he get punished for that, right? It's again, we go back, it's to know your worth. So for me, sometimes does it get a little irritating? Yeah, because it is what it is. They get to follow, they get the the notoriety, and they get all the publicity from it. Are they fighters? No, they're not. And you get some of these people out here that go, well, how do you think Jake Paul would fare against Canelo Alvarez? And that really, that's the dagger in the side. But at the same time, you really can't get mad at him. And if you're a fan of boxing, that's not boxing, so it's kind of hard.
Do you think that it helps? Like, it helps the sport just from a standpoint of it draws attention?
It absolutely does. It brings that mainstream fan. It brings them to boxing. It brings them to sit there and probably watch, if not the entire card. It brings them to watch the co-main event, who may be a fighter that's up and coming. And, you never know. You may spark that one person and say, boy, this was a fun night. I'm going to watch the next boxing card. Or you might just get the guy that says, you know what, I'm going to watch it when Jake Paul comes on, So, but I think it's going to help boxing more than it would hurt it.
I know Donnie and I already talked about it. We need to do a celebrity boxing situation where we get some of these local folks back in the ring, because there's a little bit of a rub between some of these places now. Kelly, it'd be awesome to see you get in and for charity. One of those things. I don't want to give you any more things to do, but I think it'd be a pretty decent idea.
No, it'd be fun. I think you could do that. I think you could get a lot of people. You could get some business owners that maybe want to go at it.
That's it right there.
You get some, like 21 versus 27.
See, there it is. I'll step in the ring on that.
What's a good one for you guys?
I'll fight McNuggies.
Versus the punchline.
YSN versus the world, baby. That's what it always is. It seems like, at least.
Yeah.
Donnie, you have anything for Kel while we have him?
No, I just appreciate the fact that he's willing to come on and give. There's so much insight that this guy has that it's just awesome when you give him the time and the platform to speak, and like he says, he speaks the truth. He's not gonna sugarcoat anything. So no, I just it's
called
great.
Bluebird Blue, right?
There you go. That's it, buddy. That's it.
Here's
and again,
one for you. Go ahead.
No, I said, and again, I mean, Kelly would do anything for anybody. I mean, you just have to know him, plain and simple. So
yeah, it took us an hour to bond, and I became basically your action figure because I'm a third of your size, and you were telling me that I'm your mini me. I mean, that's all it takes. It was fun, but the one question I have for you, Kelly, sports betting. So there was a tweet that was released last night about Ohio becoming legalized in sports betting. Hopefully in 2022, but it sounds like it's probably more apt towards 2023. Do you think that's going to help sports in this area? And what do you think sports betting is going to do for not just Ohio, but sports in Ohio? Do you think it has more good things than bad at this point?
I think it could. I mean, I would like to see where a lot of that revenue goes to. I mean, I think if they could there's going to be a lot of money. There's going to be a lot of money made on that. Maybe some of these programs that are struggling, maybe a portion of that goes to these programs for sports. There's high schools that probably need some new weight rooms or upgrades for the kids, for the safety. The main thing, the safety of the athletes, of these kids. If they did something like that, I know everything's about money, but if they could donate a portion of the money through gambling, again, I don't know how that all really works, but I don't see how it could hurt. I mean, I think everybody in this area knows a local bookie. So, I mean, it's kind of stuff that's already been happening anyways. It's just now nobody has to really hide it. So, again, I don't look into the petty part of it. I mean, if it may be able to help a little bit, but I would like to see something from that, because I would imagine it will go through the state of Ohio. So maybe some of these programs that are struggling, maybe a little bit of help with that.
I love it. Kale, I don't. Do you have time, or you got to go?
Yeah, I got like 5 more minutes.
All right. Well, then we're not.
I won't charge you for it.
Deal. I appreciate it. I got that invoice the first time, and
I said I'd do the first 2 shows free. So.
See, okay, I get it. So we got a free trial going. I like it. As always, we love spending time with Kelly. He's part of who we are here at YSN, and he's been so supportive of us. In the going. Trey, you have anything else for Kelly?
No, not really, man. It was great to ask these questions. I mean, I love to, pick the minds of guys who actually know the game or know the sport of boxing. Of course, like I love watching guys like Tank fight, and obviously everything from a right hook on how to throw it and then how to slip a punch. So it was great to try and pick your mind about everything and kind of see who impressed you the most in these
remember,
kind of boxing ranks.
Tank Davis throws the right hook, but
yeah.
me or an orthodox fighter shouldn't throw a right hook.
No, not if you're southpaw. Yeah.
Kel, have you ever done one of those boxing games at like Dave and Buster's just for fun?
Yeah, actually, I got a video of it. I broke a machine. Actually, I was out. We were covering.
Figure.
I swear to God, I'll send it to you and you can play it for people.
Please.
I went out and I was covering a fight. It was, I think, maybe 2 years ago now. It was in Texas. The fight was at the Cowboy Stadium, and my old trainer, Robert Garcia, we went there to go. He had a kid fighting the night before on a smaller card, and they had the punching machine there. Of course, and Ellie Setback, who's a really big news reporter for boxing, he was just egging me on to hit this bag, and I kept saying no, like I'm not hitting it, because if I hit it and it only goes to 200, do you know the type of crap I would get for that? So I was going, no, man, I'm not hitting it. So finally, I let loose, and I didn't wind up or anything. I just did a little boxing punch. Well, when you hit it and it goes up and it sticks, well, this didn't stick. I mean, the whole machine shook, and the ball went up and it hit, and it just like flopped back and forth like that. And it went up to like 957. And I think if it would have stuck, it would have definitely been over 1,000. So
they didn't send you an invoice for that, right?
What's that?
They didn't send you an invoice for that, right?
I don't know. I never checked the mail after.
Hey, listen.
Go ahead, Don.
If you guys all like, you obviously are following boxing and stuff now, but if you guys follow the boxers after they fought Kelly, and how much Kelly has ruined their careers after he's fought them, I mean, you want to talk about the hardest hitting puncher there is. And Max Kellerman, I think he used to talk about it all the time when you were in your prime. Nobody hit as hard as Kelly Pavlik. Plain and simple.
Oh, I'm not going to be the first to try it. I'll tell you that. That's not going to happen. Like, if we do a celebrity boxing, I'm not going against Kelly. That would be.
You get me now. I'm a little softer, and
Softer where?
If there's a dog chasing me or a fire.
I'd have to do
Softer
like
where?
Back to the Future, dude. I'd have to be the guy with the lead vest to fight you. Kelly, you are one of the few people in this area that's actually been able to be on a video game. I remember playing. Was it Fight Night?
Yeah.
What was that like for you? That whole experience, because you had to go do the 3D model and stuff like that. Was it weird playing as yourself on Fight Night? You didn't have to even create your own player?
So, DJ, let me tell you, I actually have a guy who I'm actually working with right now on a celebrity show, maybe.
Are you going to be on Dancing with the Stars?
He's big on that Twitch stuff. So when I do play my video games, I just go right on, and it automatically puts you on live. Like, I like GTA, so
yeah,
it puts me on GTA Live and I play it. But when you start getting into like the Twitch accounts and shit like that, I don't know anything about that, right? So this guy got me on, and he was actually the one. We were that close to being able to play Fight Night on the big screen in Dallas Cowboy Stadium. Everybody gave us the okay, right? Everybody besides the promoter. Jerry Jones and the staff under him was like, go ahead. They don't care. But the promoter of the fight wouldn't allow us to do it. So long story short, he ended up getting this boxing celebrity. It was during COVID. And, we were all the fighters were going to go use themselves and fight, against regular people. And we got on there, and I fought against a handful of people, and I got my butt whooped. I thought I was good in the game. And, I got my butt whooped on it. But it's weird. Like, you go on there, and then I really hate when somebody uses me, and then I got to go. But I'm still competitive, so I want to beat me. So I got to go find somebody that could beat me. So
is it weird, like fighting yourself on a video game? Like, do you sit there and go, okay, what do I know about you're fighting yourself? You know your tendencies.
Yeah, and they take a lot of your strong points and they use it. So like my right hand in that game is sick. You could knock anybody out with the right hand. Yeah. So I had to find a fast, slick fighter. And believe me, I whooped my butt, so I didn't care about that because I don't want to lose. But I hate when people use me. But yeah, it's weird. It is like you kind of, and even for that game came out, I think it was about 15 years ago now, maybe a little less, 14, 13 years. It's weird, because even then, that's when the technology really started breaking through, and it looks, it looks just like you, and it's just all of it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't get used to it.
All right, last question for you. Everybody's seen Balboa, and obviously that whole thing came about because of the video game. If you had to go back and fight one person that you could fight, who would it be and why?
I would have to say because of the name recognition and just what he meant in the sport, especially at middleweight, I would say Hagler, the late, great Marvin Hagler. Reason I'm saying is, I'm big in sports, and I'm even realistic. Like I told you guys, I think the last show, 30 years from now, I would want to sit there and tell my grandkid that I could beat them guys. But athletes in general, in every sport, even combat, they evolve into something that the older guys are not, and it's just the way it is. It's science, actually. And but Hagler, I would say him. I think Hagler was tailor-made. Hagler was 5'9" on paper, and I've met Hagler, and he might have been 5'8". Hagler wasn't really a big power puncher at all. He would just kind of like throw a lot of punches. I think with my frame and my punch output and how I fought, I think that would have been a classic. I definitely think I would have won, but even if not, I think that what a war that fight would have been for 15. I will go back even back then, because a lot of people get that mixed up. They think because you fight 12 now that these world champions can't fight 15 rounds, and all that is just a matter of training and sparring and training. You could easily go 15 rounds. We jump sometimes I jump from 6 rounds to 10 rounds. So going 3 more is not a big deal, but I think what a fight for boxing fans that would have been. For however long it lasted, you're talking about a bloody, brutal fight.
Go back and knock out Edison Miranda again.
Oh, that was the best fight ever.
I wouldn't fight Edison Miranda again if they paid me.
No way, that was a war. That was
I
a
still walk
war.
around with the after effects from that fight.
Listen,
He hit hard, man. That dude hit. I sparred heavyweights that were ranked number 2 in the world, and never been hit by somebody like Edison Miranda.
I was sitting in a hotel room in Chicago watching that fight, telling everybody that by far. Listen, the Taylor fight was a Taylor fight. We all loved it. Everything else, that to me is Kelly's best fight, bar none. And honestly, Kelly, if you would have fought, if you were healthy when you fought Hopkins, I think you would have beat Hopkins too. So.
We'll get into that one day. I don't ever really talk much on the Hopkins fight because it goes for not, nobody believes, but we'll talk about it one time.
Kelly, it's always an honor to have you on here. And the one thing that you told me about a year ago, I think we were talking, everybody was talking about you coming back is, you don't ever get used to the taste of your own, kidneys or liver or whatever it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when you get hit with a body shot.
Yeah. So things that people don't realize, and it's to me why boxing is entertaining. But it took me a whole one lesson in combat, other than karate when I was a little kid, to realize this isn't for me. So we appreciate all that you've done for this area, all that you continue to do, and certainly we appreciate you stopping by a couple times here on the Power Hour. You're always welcome, my friend.
Well, just keep sending the links if you can remember to send them, and then I'll come on.
I got you, brother. I'll send you a link every day till you think I'm annoying. So, and then of course I'll stop down to the gym here within the next week and we'll chat.
You gotta get Donnie. I keep telling Donnie to come too, to bring Mackenzie. Bring her in or get on the Vertimax.
I'll get her on there. Let's go.
It's great piece of equipment, man.
And we'll get you hooked up, man. Hey, real quick, so we're not doing this for free. Do a promo on some of the stuff that you got going on.
I already got my secretary in here. minutes are on paper, buddy.
Your gym in Columbiana, talk about that real quick.
Yeah, so my gym in Columbiana is right there on East Park Avenue, right across from Josie's. We have the memberships that range from $25 for a month for students, $35 a single, $50 for a couple, and $60 for a family. And the family could be up to 7 people. So you're not going to really get a better price around than that. It's a 24-hour gym. We have a personal trainer there. The great thing about the gym, some gyms you go to, it's either a meathead gym or one caters to, women more so or kids. My gym, everybody gets along. You'll see a meathead with a newcomer at the gym. You'll see an athletic kid that's talking with a bodybuilder. So everybody gets along. It's just a nice environment. And again, the prices are great. We're open 365 days a year. It's 24 hours. So you ever get a chance or you're out that way, stop in.
I know Columbiana very well. It's not that far from East Palestine, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, I know you do. I was doing my little promotion on it,
You always give me crap about East Palestine, so you act like it's 70 miles away from Columbiana.
East Palestine, is that in Ohio or is that West Virginia?
See, is exactly what we're talking about. You're welcome to stay around for if you want to give your spark, because we're literally 5 minutes away from the end of the show.
I have to bring my pick 'em up truck, a shotgun, and everything.
Here we go, boys. It's time for the Joe Dickey Electric. What's your The Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, you need to go to the official electric supplier of your sports network, Joe Dickey Electric, or visit them at Dickey
I
Electric.
played with Joe Dickey and his kid in baseball.
Did you really?
Yeah. It was Babe Ruth.
No kidding.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That is,
Dickey Electric.
phenomenal.
For a little bit. But all right, guys. Hey, honestly, thanks for having me on, man. It's always a blast, and I'll probably see you guys next week.
Thanks, Kel. We appreciate you, buddy. Have a good weekend.
All right. I'll see you guys.
There he goes. The ghost, Kelly Pavlik. We always appreciate him. I mean, it's just, Trey, for you.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I'm a big boxing fan. So, like, there's not many guys that you could have, like, a real technical conversation with. There's not many people in general that, like, you can go into, like, about guys like Errol Spence. Like, that's not a household name. Or Lomachenko. Those aren't household names. Like, unless you like boxing or like the UFC, I mean, even in that kind of realm, you can't really talk to that many people about it. So to talk with somebody who's been there, done that, and kind of is around that space, it's pretty cool.
Listen, I am not a huge boxing guy. Like, I knew it because of Kelly. That was it. That was my beginning and ending. And to be able to talk to him, listen, again, as a business guy, to talk to him about business and the champion that he is in business, that's where it's at for me. Just to talk about life experience and stuff that he's gone through. And, for him to share some of that stuff today, I think was very valuable to a lot of people that watch the Power Hour religiously. People they love it. They love the opportunity, and they love the new branding of the show. They love the new format. Donnie, we owe a lot of that to you, man. So please, without further ado, take the first spark away from us.
All right, so before I get to my spark, Trey,
Sure.
if you ever need him to talk with you about anything, he thought you were just as cool with the questions you were asking than you were asking those questions. So believe me, he will do anything for you. My spark today has to be I get to go hang out with my wife and a lot of her coworkers tonight at their Christmas party. So I get to hang out with a bunch of really awesome teachers and administrators and stuff. So really looking forward to that, and hopefully they have a great night.
Awesome. And you know how much we love those staff and administrators over there in your neck of the woods. Trey, what do you have?
So I was going to talk about Big Ben, DJ. I was going to do it, but I'm not going to do it. Ursuline, so
Good choice.
my positive spark is going to be the Ursuline basketball team. Obviously, after state, there's been a bit of a hangover with everything, sad the way it ended, but we're happy we got there. But my positive sparks to be the Ursuline basketball team. 2 straight wins, 1 over Fitch. And Terrence Pankey is having, so far, even though it's been a short season so far, an outstanding season. He just threw down a lob that's kind of been going viral, at least around this area, against Lakeview, threw it down. So seeing that clip was pretty cool, and seeing those guys play after what just happened, it's cool to see the sports, the energy keep up around the school. So I'll go with that.
Mine is going to be last night. I was able to take a night away, and I guess to speak, I got picked up. Mikey McNuggies, if you're out there, I appreciate you for taking care of the Salem and Boardman game that I was slated to. But it was a good night because we don't do what we do for awards, but it's always an honor whenever we're presented with one. And last night, Crestview brought us to their meeting, and we were the recipients of the Rebel Pride Award for the community service and the things that we do here at YSN for Crestview. And it was an honor. It's always an honor to be presented with awards and to be highlighted for what we do. Not that we ask for it, because we do it for the kids, for the communities, for the the schools, the programs, you name it, the coaches, and of course the student athletes. But it was cool in the sense that, being able to stand in front of the Crestview School Board, and Laura Nappy, the principal, who was the athletic director at one point, was the same person that I sat with when we didn't have any schools. We didn't have anything to speak of, not even a website at that point. And, to have the Rebel Pride Award and one of the original 4 schools that we have brought on to YSN 4 years ago, it was an honor, and it was a cool moment and a great moment in our company's history. So wanted to thank them for that, and especially for the time and understanding of what goes into it, and the patience of what goes into what we do on an every night basis. Tonight on the network, we got 12 games available for you, all for free, all on this Thursday night. Obviously, we had, I think 4 or 5 last night as well. So sit back, enjoy. If you're not going to the games, make sure you turn on YSN. You can click on all 12 of them if you feel like, and we'll have you covered from the final score perspective as well. Don't forget, as well, go to the Big Dogs of the Valley. Plenty to vote for, right, Donnie? There's probably a couple people you could vote for in that whole thing.
There might be a few. And listen, and there's every one of those kids are deserving of the award. And I want to, even though my daughter's on there, and I really would appreciate her votes, every one of those kids deserves it. So whoever wins, man. Perfect.
There's no losers. It's all about getting those kids the recognition they deserve. Trey, you got any last thoughts?
No, I'm just glad that your spark went after mine. I'm glad you didn't go before me. Gonna try and making people cry over here. I mean,
hey, D. Ricks made me cry yesterday. It's only fair. So
shoot.
And Donnie, real quick, the coach thing, the coach drive.
Yes. Yeah.
How can people get involved?
Okay, literally, it's this simple. You donate new coats, not used coats. These kids deserve new items. Mm-hmm. You donate coats to the Mahoning County Children's Services. All you have to do is give them a call, give Miss Kohler a call there, and they will gladly take any coats. Honestly, the thing that broke my heart was pajamas. There's a pajama shortage. Like we don't think about these things on a daily basis like we should. Kids go to sleep, in their clothes, and my kids don't. My kids go to sleep in pajamas, and the fact that there's shortages on that, and kids never ask to be put in these situations. So, I mean, anything anybody can do. Just our valley has such a huge heart, man. When I walked in that room yesterday, holy cow, it was special to see that many people decided to donate and do so many things. But the coat situation, specifically, a young mother had passed away a couple weeks ago, and I was on her social media page, and 5 days prior to her passing, she was purchasing hundreds of coats for the coat drive for the Mahoning County Children's Services. So naturally, I'm always one of those ones that's willing to help, do whatever, and spread the word as much as we possibly can, because my goodness, if she's willing to do that, and she was as sick as she was, and then anybody can do anything. So yeah, I donated 52 coats and 50 pairs of socks, and still not enough though.
Well, if you want to take part in that and you want to share, especially the most wonderful time of the year, isn't always the most wonderful time of year for some. So if you'd like to take part in that, reach out to us. We'll get you involved. We will be involved. We're looking to do some of these drives before Christmas. So if you'd like to take part and join the YSN family and YSN team of doing that, reach out to us, info@ysnlive.com. Reach out to our social media pages, and we'll get you involved. Donnie Riccatelli, you're an inspiration to us all, man. Thank you so much for all you do. And Trey, we will see you hopefully tomorrow here on the YSN Power Hour, and we'll take a 23-hour break, as Anthony Hartwig says, and we'll be back tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on ysnlive.com. See you guys. YSN thanks you